The Nun's Priest's Tale, the Nightmare Beast of the Firebrand Tale. There was once a small house miles from town. Its one room was dark with soot from the fire, and it let in no light. The wife who lived there was poor and led a plain life with her two young girls. There was milk and cheese and bread to eat, but no rich food or wines. Their clothes were drab, and they had to work hard all day. But they kept fit that way, and slept well. In the yard were 3 big pigs, 3 cows, and a sheep. Oh, and there was an old cockerel, too. Now listen and lend an ear to a story of heroism and scholarly wisdom set within the palisade of that farmyard's fence. Hear now and give ear, as I describe the magnificence of the aforesaid cockerel. Crowned at birth, with the name of Chanticleer, no cockerel in all the land could crow more gloriously. His head was emblazoned with a comb crest as scarlet as deep-sea coral, crenellated like the battlements of a castle wall. His beak gleamed like blackest jet, and his legs and feet were of blue to equal the blue ceiling of the world, with cloud pennants of white as his claws. Mantling his noble shoulders was a cloak of plumes the color of burnished gold. This paragon of cockerels had a harem of 7 lovely wives, each of their gowns tinted with the same sublime gold. But the fairest by far, whose throat was mottled with the very colors of beauty, was Madame Pertelote. Was there ever such a charming, witty, courteous, cultured companion than this gracious bird? Chanticleer loved Madame Pertelote with a passionate tenderness, and together they sang love duets. If you have ever heard the voices of a cock and a hen, I dare say you can imagine just how sweetly those two sang. But one early morning, Chanticleer woke, fear clutching at his noble heart. "Oh, woe!" he cried. "Such a terrible dream!" He woke Madame Pertelote with his shouting. "I dreamed I was in the terraced gardens of this palace of ours. I was strolling between the ornamental lake and the maze, taking the air and viewing our estates. Suddenly, a ferocious beast sprang at me. It was like a dog, but with a reddish coat and a pointed nose and black tips to his ears and a tail like a firebrand. Oh, those teeth, those blazing eyes from the very realms of hell! Buk, buk, buk." "What nonsense is this?" cried the fair damsel. "You? A coward? You? Afraid of a bad dream? How can I love such a chicken-livered lover? Women need their husbands to be courageous, level-headed. Anyone would think you were a common, uneducated cockerel. Remember what the Roman philosopher Cato wrote? Pay no heed to dreams. You know your trouble, don't you? You ate too much dinner last night. I'll mix up a laxative for you with my own fair wing." "O bird of birds, hen of my heart!" cried Chanticleer, shaking his head. "Have you never read the Bible or the lives of the saints? There are countless examples of dreams being sent from heaven as warnings to good Christian chickens. Don't you recall how the Pharaoh of Egypt had dreams, and Joseph became prime minister because he knew what they meant? Everything the Pharaoh dreamt came true. My dream had a deep and meaningful message for me. If only I knew what it was." Dame Pertelote spread wide her elegant and delicate toes to take a better grip of the perch. Her breast feathers were ruffled with annoyance, and her beak, as she pecked Chanticleer in the neck, was like the flashing spear of the goddess Athena. "Prunes," she said. "That's what you need." Chanticleer spread his wings like the banners of an ancient knight riding into battle. "Oh, angelic hen, I had forgotten how lovely you look when you're angry. Your eyes so red, your ears so fluffy, your cluck so musical. Oh, queen of the coop, what is danger to a cockerel whose mate is as lovely as you? Let me take you in my wings, my pride and joy." Unfortunately, the perch was rather narrow for the passionate embrace, and Chanticleer tumbled off it. Picking himself up, he saw that the sun had risen, and it was time to be crowing, waking the heavens with the trumpeting fanfare of his call. Chanticleer strutted out into the gardens of his palace. The nightmare beast of the Firebrand tale was forgotten. What villainous monster would dare to threaten the majesty of Chanticleer? What monstrous rascal would dare to lay a paw on his real magnificence? Chanticleer stretched his head high into the air and crowed with all his might. There was a butterfly flitting from bank to bank of the palace grounds. Chanticleer, standing between his ornamental lake and the tall maze, vaguely composed a poem in 12 verses about the briefness of life and of butterflies in particular. The insect landed on the blossoms of a towering scented plantation. The cockerel watched, then his sapphire feet clawed up the velvet turf of his carpeting lawn, and his black eyes shone like stars in the firmament. Crouching, couched in the scented plantation, was the very beast of his dream, the nightmare beast of the Firebrand tale, its jaws wide, its teeth as curved and shining as the scimitars of Saladin's heathen army lying in wait for the night's crusader. "O Death, I see thy horrid shape and blazing eyes," cried Chanticleer. "Please don't distress yourself, sweet stately bird," said the monster. "I am the knight of the burning Firebrand, and I have traveled over furlongs and fathoms just to catch sight of the renowned, the legendary Chanticleer. I see now that the descriptions of your glory were true. It is also true that your voice shames the thrilling trills of the nightingale. Sing, oh sing, rapturous bird, and let me drink in the magical sound." "Ah, well, said Chanticleer modestly. "By all means." And he cleared his throat, sat back on his haunches, and stretched his neck towards the brazen disk of the rising sun. "Cockle-doodle, splurg." Glancing out of her door, the farm wife saw her cock sit up and crow on the patch of marsh grass between the duck pond and the bald privet hedge. Suddenly, out of the mint bed, jumped a bony red fox. It grabbed the cock by its neck and ran off as fast as it could go. Oh, listen and believe what grieving there was among the ladies of the royal court of Chanticleer. "Our lord has been seized by the nightmare beast of the Firebrand tale," cried Madame Pertelote. "Oh, paint the sun black, and never let there ever be another worm eaten for breakfast. Oh, woe, and double woe." Meanwhile, the farmer's wife grabbed up her broom and called her 2 girls and old Mr. Talbot and Collie the dog, and they all splashed through the farmyard puddles and over the stile, shouting and hollering at the thieving fox. "Put that bird down! Let go, you mangy animal! If you don't let that cock go this very minute, I'll knock your shaggy ears off with this broom. Just see if I don't." You never heard such a racket. You'd have thought all the devils had got loose from hell, or that a mob of vandals was burning down from the town. There was never a chase to match it, across a plowed field and uphill to the wood. Chanticleer, banging up and down on the fox's back, had all the breath knocked out of him and was as good as dead. But at last, he managed to splutter. "You've got 'em licked, you cunning old beast, you. I've got to hand it to you. They won't catch you if they run all morning. You could turn round and stick your tongue out at them, and they'd still not catch you." He's not wrong, thought the fox, and he turned in his tracks to put his tongue out at the people chasing him. Of course, the cockerel fell out of his mouth at once and fluttered up to the safety of a tree branch. "Damn it," said the fox. "Oh, listen and lend an ear to the sermon Chanticleer preached from his pulpit high in the tree. Oh, ignoble and dastardly fox, shame! Shame on you and your tribe for your violence and treason against the royal name of Chanticleer. Did you suppose that a life of crime would be rewarded with roast meat and a full stomach? No, indeed. You, the fox, have been outfoxed. Never again will your teeth have the privilege of sinking themselves in the mantle of my feathers." "Ah, go on," said the fox. "Jump down and give us another song." "You're joking," said Chanticleer. "Semel incentivus arms. That's Latin. It means, what kind of a dumb cluck do you take me for?" At the end of his tale, Brother John winked in my direction. "You're an educated man, and a poet, Master Chaucer. Did you like my effort?" I returned him a wry grin. "So that's what you think of us poets, is it?" But the prioress leaned across, then patted her priest on the wrist. "That was very nice, John dear." "Très gentil." The miller breathed out through his teeth, but did not have enough long words in his red head to say anything brilliantly insulting. All this time, Oswald the Reeve had been sulking and sulking around on the skirts of the party, muttering and sputtering with unspent anger. At last, he thrust his horse back in among us and commented aloud to himself in a large voice. "I suppose nobody wants to hear my story. The miller's slanderous rubbish, yes, but not my story." There was a satanic gleam in his bulging eyes that told me the Reeve had more in mind than the competition in wanting to tell a story. He had been nursing the insult paid him by Matt, and now he was back for revenge. "Feel free," said Harry. "Go right ahead. We're all ears." The miller's horse gave a grunt as Matt rose in his stirrups to brandish himself like a torch. "Better keep up the subject of millers, though, if you know what's good for you, Oswald." Now, it's funny you should say that, said Oswald, but the story I have in mind does not make passing mention of a miller. Still, this fellow's a rascal. I mean, he steals from his customers, gives them short measure back after he's ground their corn for them, and everybody knows that you wouldn't do that. Not you, Matt. I can't think what they mean back home when they say you dip your thumb in every sack. Everyone knows what honest fellows you millers are. We pilgrims burst out laughing, each of us thinking how inexplicably rich all the millers are that we know. When did you ever see a poor miller? Isn't that how the saying goes? Matt gave a threatening growl, but Oswald felt safe now. Circled about by an audience of pilgrims, he launched into his tale with a grinning gusto.